Joining me now is Dan McClory, Managing Director and Head of China at Bowstead Securities. Dan, always nice to have you on the show. Dan, Chinese President Xi Jinping speaking at the closing session of the ceremonial parliament, saying that China would never allow 1 inch of territory to be separated from it. Now, of course, this comes as President Trump signed a law that allows senior U.S. and Taiwanese officials to make reciprocal visits. As we know, China considers Taiwan a renegade province. So if the Trump administration continues to have these direct dealings with Taiwan, what do you expect from the Chinese?
There's going to be vocal and visible and assertive reaction from the Chinese, but I think it's just part of the strategic, disruptive nature of an unpredictable President Trump. That's going to take the oxygen out of the room for these trade discussions and other things that, quite frankly, are far more valuable and important to the U.S. Taiwan is extremely important strategic to China, but President Trump, once again, has pushed a button that's getting a reaction. So
you think this is a classic Trump playing the Taiwan card to get more trade concessions?
Completely. Absolutely completely. I don't think he has any desire whatsoever to go further, establish relations that would threaten or impair the U.S.-China relationship. I think he's absolutely doing this to get a reaction, to get China to some extent on their back heels for this trade discussion and many, many other agenda items that, again, are far more important than allowing diplomats to travel freely between the countries.
Well, it seems like the Chinese are a little more conciliatory when it comes to trade. Premier Li Keqiang, that's essentially China's #2 guy, saying that they'll lower tariffs on imports, they'll provide greater access to various sectors, including financial, and most significantly, he said that Beijing plans to fully open its manufacturing sector, including taking steps to protect intellectual property rights, and specifically to ensure no forced technology transfers. Now, Dan, this is exactly what President Trump has been complaining about and what he threatens to increase tariffs on China for. Is this something that the Chinese will follow up on? How likely is it that they'll keep this promise?
I think they'll very likely keep the promise, but let's take it apart. They've basically given the U.S. a throwaway concession, if it's even that. As we know, manufacturing has been supplanted in China by services for quite some time now in terms of contribution to GDP. The forward-thinking, the more efficient manufacturers are starting to go offshore from China to places like Vietnam, for example. So when Mr. Li talks about opening up manufacturing, that's almost like a throwaway industry in some regards. And so I don't think it has nearly the significance it would have, 5, 10, 15 years ago. And remember, the intellectual property opening up and protection that he's talking about is specifically related to manufacturing, not related to, our high-tech companies like Google, Facebook, and Twitter, who continue to be unable to operate in China.
So you wouldn't consider it a victory for the Trump administration, but perhaps getting thrown a bone? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we've been thrown a bone. And again, I think President Trump will use this to his advantage, and it will air well and it will play well. But really, when you take it apart, there's probably going to be very little substantive benefit to the United States as a result of that opening up.
Dan McClory, always good to have you on the show. Thank you so much. Appreciate your insight.